Hi, I'm Jason Van Orden. Welcome to an Internet Business Mastery audio blog. Today's audio blog is 5 ways to level up your email newsletter and keep your readers coming back for more. Again, this is a new type of content that we're putting out on the podcast series. It's not one of the official episodes of the show, but rather an audio version of blogs that we've been posting to our site. And we want to offer these up in an audio format as well, because we know there's a lot of people who like listening to us on the go. We want to give you access to this content too. You can read this post and leave comments by going to internetbusinessmastery.com/levelupemail. That's all one word, level up email. Now let's dive right into the post. The email list is still king. No matter how much talk there is about Facebook likes and Twitter followers and blog subscribers, email lists still convert the most sales. At the same time, email subscribers are more discerning than ever. To attract subscribers and to keep them, it requires upping your game. Open rates are on a decline for anyone still stuck in the past with their email practices. Let's take a look at 5 ways to level up your email newsletter and keep your readers coming back for more. The first way is to use images. If you don't use images in your email newsletter, start now. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should I use images when most email services just turn the images off by default? Well, guess what? Your reader can click a link to turn images on in all of your emails. You just have to ask them and give them a good reason to do it. If you never use images, they never have a reason to turn images on. And without images, you're missing out on the following 3 important things. First of all, better engagement. Images set a tone and provide proof, emotionally engage, entertain, and solidify your brand, and on and on. Second of all, you'd be missing out on more accurate tracking. Here's how your email provider tracks your open rate, or in other words, the percentage of subscribers that open an email. A tiny invisible image is included in every email that you send, and every time that image is displayed, it's counted as an open. The problem is that most people have images turned off by default in their email inbox. And even if they open the email, the tracking image isn't pulled up. The open then isn't tracked. If you never give them a reason to click that display images link, then they won't click it. And by not using images, you're training your subscribers not to expect images. And so your open rate tracking will continue to suffer. The third thing you're missing out on is standing out. Using images helps you stand out from your competition. They're probably not using images. They're still afraid of it. Now here's how to get images turned on in your emails. There are 2 ways to get your images seen. First of all, start your email by asking the reader to turn on images. Second, you can set what's called the alt text of each image to say something like, if you can't see this image, please click the display images link in your inbox. The alt text is something that gets displayed in place of an image if it doesn't get displayed on the web page or in the email. Now, if you go back to the blog post version of this article, you can see images showing what it is that I'm talking about here. But most email list managers give you an option when inserting an image to enter what's called an alt or alternate text. So just watch for that option in there. So by putting an invitation at the top of your email, something like, if you can't see the images below, please click the display images link in your inbox, you've invited them to click that display images below link. And once they do that, then the images will now show up. All right, here's the second way to level up your email newsletter. Include exclusive content. The contents of our newsletter used to consist of just links to the latest podcast episode and blog content. Well, this is a useful reason for some readers to subscribe. More people will subscribe and stay subscribed if you include exclusive goodies in the newsletter, content that they won't get anywhere else. A month ago, we introduced a new format for our newsletter. Now the format looks something like this. We'll start with an excerpt from and a link to the latest podcast, and then we'll have an excerpt and a link to the latest blog. Then we have a step-by-step section, which is a step-by-step tutorial on some specific business strategy. And then we have a quick clicks segment, which includes recommended links, tools, and good reads that we found from that week. Really quality stuff that we think you're going to enjoy and can use right away in your business. And sometimes we finish off with what we call our fan fave. And this will be a link to a popular piece of content from our archives that we're bringing back because it has a lot of value, but maybe, it's 2 or 3 years old and just hasn't been seen for a little while. Our goal is to pack so much value into our newsletter that you can't help but look forward to reading each week. Some of the juicy tidbits from just the last month of newsletters include how to record audio interviews, the #1 strategy of high-performance brands, installing WordPress with hacker protection, how to track opt-in conversions, how to use your story to sell more, custom logos at a fraction of the price, and much more. So if you want to get exclusive weekly content, just like the examples I just read, sign up for the newsletter in the sidebar of our blog back at internetbusinessmastery.com. Now, just as a little extra, I want to read, the proof that's in the pudding here. These are just a couple little emails that were sent back to us, that were sent as an immediate reply to our most recent newsletter that we sent out. John H. sent an email reply saying, "Your podcast and newsletter are rocking. I'm so blown away by what you guys are giving out. I'm proud to have been a member of your academy." Josh Liston from Australia says, "This email is a goldmine, guys. This is one of the single most useful emails I've ever received. Thank you so much." So as you can see, we're really getting that engagement and emotional connection and delivering great value to our readers, as evidenced by the responses that they're giving us. The third way to level up your email newsletter is to be consistent. Now, I watch a show called Blue's Clues with my daughter. She's just a little over 1 year old, and she absolutely loves this show. And I have to admit, I kind of enjoy it myself. And during its run on TV, Blue's Clues won all kinds of awards. It was a big part of Nickelodeon's growth. One of the key elements to the show's success was its consistent structure. If you watch more than one episode of Blue's Clues, you soon realize certain things happen at specific times in every episode without fail. Research has shown that this repetition and predictable structure strengthen what is being taught to the kids. And adults are the same. Just think about every episode of Law and Order that you've seen. They all have the same exact 4-act structure. There's a good reason for that. Humans like predictability. We like to know what to expect. So be consistent with your email newsletter. This applies in 2 ways. Number 1, always send your newsletter on the same day of the week. Number 2, always use the same structure for each email. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't try new things here and there. It doesn't mean that you can't be different or do something unexpected. But overall, consistency is powerful. Become a part of your audience's routine, and you'll get more of their attention. We send out our newsletter every Thursday morning. The fourth thing you can do to level up your email is make it mobile friendly. Mobile technology and communication are changing at a very rapid pace. This is one of the most significant trends in business and marketing. It affects every aspect of your business and brand, and this includes your emails. You can either get in front of the parade with your baton twirling high, or you can let the parade pass you by and leave you standing in the empty street in the middle of used streamers and empty soda cans. Mobile is a trend you cannot ignore. Now, this post is not about mobile marketing, but your email newsletter is certainly affected by mobile trends. So let's take a look at just a few things you can do right now. I admit this is something we have just started integrating into our emails, and we're still figuring out what works best. But here are a few things you can try with your own email newsletter to make it more mobile friendly. The first thing is to increase font size. This makes the email easier to read on small screens and makes the links more tappable with fingers. The second thing is let the text flow. Don't manually insert carriage returns. The recommendation used to be to hit enter after 60 characters. This made the line shorter and easier to read, but now you just end up messing up the text flow. If you look at an email on a mobile device that has had a carriage return inserted, you get a really choppy look, and it just doesn't lend well to a good reading experience. So now just let the text flow, let it go to the end of the screen and wrap around naturally. If you want to see an example of the wrong way to do it, go back to internetbusinessmastery.com/levelupemail to read the blog post, and you'll see some examples of that. Now, this is something we have messed up recently. We're still clearly working on perfecting some of these things. So please learn from our mistakes. We make as many as we can so that you don't have to. Now, the third thing you can do for being mobile friendly is to read your own email on mobile. Once that email's come out, don't just read it in Gmail or whatever you have on your desktop. Pick up that iPhone, pick up that iPad, pick up that Android phone or whatever other phone you might use to check email and see what your email looks like on that screen. You might be surprised at the glaring problems that you notice. Now, in the post back on the blog, I have a link to a very useful article with more tips on mobile email marketing. Now, the fifth and final way to level up your email newsletter is to be 110% you. This is another one that we're really focusing on doing a better job with. Just because your newsletter is an email for your business, it doesn't mean that it has to read like a mechanical promotion piece. Infuse your personality into it. Write it like it's going out to a personal friend. Some simple ways to be more interesting are to tell stories, to admit a failing, crack a joke, but don't force the humor. Include a small personal detail wherever appropriate. For example, earlier in this blog post, I talked about watching Blue's Clues with my daughter. You can also share your vision for yourself and your reader and the world in your email newsletters. All these things make it more personable and show your personality. It's one of the best assets that you have in your business, and that is you. No one else can copy that. Don't be afraid to be you. Turn it up to 11. Now, that's a joke from a great movie called Spinal Tap, and I've put a hilarious short clip back on the blog of the scene that Turn It Up 11 comes to. But it basically comes from the idea of a guitar amp. I'm a guitarist. I used to play guitar in bands. And the idea is that, the volume knob normally just goes to 10. But in this movie, this rock band has special amps that have that extra one tick to take it up over the top of anybody else. And I like that because it's a really good analogy of how you should take your personality and who you are and just give it that extra notch and put it all out there. Be 110% you. So that's it. Stay ahead of the curve now. The game is changing fast. It's important to level up now to stay ahead of your competition. The 5 tips that we've talked about will help you do just that. Even just choose one of them and use it this week. So let's go ahead and review the 5 tips really quickly. The first way to level up your email newsletter is to use images. Number 2 is to include exclusive content. Number 3 is be consistent. Number 4 is make it mobile friendly. Number 5 is be 110% you. Now it's your turn. I'd love to know what tips you have to level up an email newsletter. Go ahead back to the blog to internetbusinessmastery.com/levelupemail, all one word, and you can share your comments in the comments below the blog post. Or let me know what you think by emailing us at hello@internetbusinessmastery.com. That comes directly to me and Jeremy. And thanks so much for listening. To get more tips and resources like this audio blog, head over to freevideogift.com and that signs you up for our email newsletter. We'll send you weekly updates with our latest content as well as step-by-step tutorials and must-see resources that you won't find on the blog or the podcast. I'm Jason Van Orden, and until next time, go take bold action.